I'm in my 40s and I've been studying Japanese every day for the past 15 months. Nah, I lie. I've skipped 6 days. In this video, I'll walk you through what's changed in the last 3 months, how I adjusted my study approach, what actually worked and what didn't, and the surprising results of a new experiment I've started. One thing you won't see this time round is output. No real progress there. If you want to hear me speak Japanese, check out my 12 months video instead. It's almost comical how every 3 month stretch starts with some kind of struggle, and this didn't disappoint. After reflecting at the 12 months mark, I reduced my Anki load by pausing new cards to ease the workload. While this gave me some breathing room, the moment I restarted sentence mining, Anki time spiked. And I started dreading anything Japanese again. So I was barely managing an hour a day, most of it spent on Anki with sentence mining every few days. Then I took a basic vocab kanji test to join the Moiway Discord, which should have been simple. You see a Japanese word and you need to write kana reading for it. To my shock and horror, I couldn't do the most basic one, with a lot of words looking either familiar but just out of reach or completely foreign to me. Turns out it's a common trap with sentence-only cards. You memorize sentence and fool yourself into thinking you know the kanji. But outside of those exact sentences, I couldn't recall the meaning or the reading at all. And yet again, I turned to ChatGPT for answers, with the aim of 1. Reducing the Anki workload, and 2. Getting my kanji word recognition out of the gutter. So after some back and forth, we decided to switch my decks from sentence vocab cards to force true kanji recognition. It would raise the workload short term, but lower time per card, hopefully making Anki more sustainable, or at least that was the idea. What I didn't expect was failing 90% of my cards, basically relearning 100 plus words every single day. Eventually, I reset all progress and started the deck 20 cards at a time, while still trying to mine sentences. This whole episode was honestly one of the lowest points of my Japanese language learning journey in the last 15 months. Let me know if you've hit a wall in your language journey as well, and how did you get through it? Sometimes just talking about it might help you get through that. And thankfully, the last 3 months have been a story of two halves. The first part took about 2 months to go through. These struggles made me question my methods. They forced me to stop, reflect, and rethink what actually worked for me and what did not. What gets us to attain a high proficiency at a language is not some innate ability, not one simple trick that language schools don't want you to know about, nor some killer app, but a sustained effort over time, over a long time. That realization, plus an old Katsumoto video ramble and some digging online, led me to a breakthrough. I realized I had things backwards. I treated Anki as my primary method of learning and immersion as a bonus, when it should have been the other way round. Stumbling upon a video comparing Dreaming Spanish to Refold method was the final piece of the puzzle. For the next 4 months, I will run an experiment on myself and simply do a comprehensible input, a bold leap to make. But what if this doesn't work? What if I will lose 4 months of progress? So I chickened out. I decided that I needed to at least maintain my vocabulary level, so I reset the Kaishi 1.5k deck, adding 20 cards a day, just enough to keep vocab fresh without overwhelming myself. And so I did just that for the last months. Which brings us to now and the results of the first months of the experiment. Honestly, the shift happened the moment I committed. Interacting with Japanese content is the only way I can acquire Japanese now. All of a sudden, that, instead of dreading having to do Anki and mine sentences, made me look forward to just immersing. Barely being able to do an hour a day turned into first 2, then 3 and 4 hours daily. Finding more time to immerse throughout the day turned into a sort of a game in its own right. I even managed to somehow squeeze 7 hours twice in the last month, and that's 7 hours a day. Just don't ask me to repeat that on a daily basis, alright? I have started waking up earlier and running a little longer, getting in about 40 minutes of Japanese podcast in before the day even starts. I'm now running most days of the week and looking forward to every and each run as I get to listen to more Japanese. Anki now only takes 5 to 15 minutes a day, and most importantly, I don't view it as something I must do or else. I have started reading Japanese before bed again, going over 10 volumes of manga in the last months, and made a decision to go back and relearn the kanji properly. But instead of going back to RTK and Heisig, I have instead gotten Kadansha Kanji Learning course. It combines mnemonics, reading, and common vocab into a more holistic approach. I want to get back the ability at looking at unknown words and have an idea of what the word might mean. This, coupled with daily reading, is looking very promising as a method to get me to Japanese literacy. And so, to foreshadow a bit, I have recently suspended all the Anki decks apart from the KKLC kanji, which I am doing at a glacial speed of 4 new cards per day. If this video has been helpful, you can support my journey on Ko-fi. Links in the description. But what does any of that mean in terms of comprehension, and what material did I actually immerse with? So for listening, I have started with a complete beginner videos and gone through all free CI Japanese website videos, bar 4 at the highest difficulty. Bochan no Monogatari really ground my streak to a halt there, basically. I watched a ridiculous number of YouTubers at, below, and above my level. Finished all of Karakai Jouzu no Takagi-san, that's anime, drama, anime movie, and live-action movie. I finished watching J-drama called Quartet, started watching Kadoku no Gurume drama, and will be continuing for a long time, actually. Both me and my partner are really enjoying the series. Something to pick up now and again, watch it while you're eating, because it's all about food. Finally, I've listened to over 70 episodes of the original Archives Nihongo Konteppei podcast. That started at a barely following about 50% to now cruising at 80+% comprehension. YouTube videos made for learners are much more comprehensible as well, and I moved from about 80% to about 95% comprehension with my favorite YouTube for learners, Speak Japanese Naturally. I have also immersed in Japanese YouTube content made for native speakers, with various degrees of success. For example, I can get about 80 to 90% of Hikakin TV videos, but struggle at about 50% comprehension with Inakamon stuff. Now, reading's trickier to measure, progress feels slower, but I'm ramping up to at least an hour a day, having now finished over 10 manga volumes of Karakai Jouzu no Takagi-san. As you might have also noticed, I'm playing through a visual novel, Hanahira, on my streams. And yes, I finally started tackling light novels. Started with a children's book, Given, and reviewed it recently as well. But this is the tree that should start bearing fruit at about 18 months, more than anything. So far, the biggest issue to overcome was mental. You get so used to measure your progress by the amount of words learned in Anki that once that metric was removed, I felt a little lost on how to gauge where I was with the language. But now that I have seen real progress in comprehension, it doesn't really bother me anymore. At least not much, anyway. So the stats for the last 3 months are as follows. Total of 202.5 hours dedicated to Japanese. Out of that, 48.6 hours is Anki, 128.8 hours is listening, 14 hours of reading, and 11.1 hours gaming. Daily averaging 2.28 hours. Now, overall Japanese time to date, that's 15 months. Total of 1,068.5 hours dedicated to Japanese. Out of that, 482.6 hours is active study and 585.9 hours immersion, averaging 2.34 hours daily. Also, on a curious note, this quarter was the first time I've had overwhelmingly more immersion compared to active study. So what's next? Well, I'm going all the way down the rabbit hole of comprehensible input experiment. So, I will continue slowly but steadily with Kodansha Kanji learning course and its Anki deck. Have at least 1 hour a day of reading to supplement that, and I'll strive for at least 4 hours a day of Japanese altogether. Let's see where that takes me, shall we? Let me know your progress in the comments, I'd love to hear it. And if you're wondering what your first Japanese book should be, check out my Curious George review. それじゃ、またね。バイバイ。